Well, hello and hello to all of you out there in Hungarian TV land. Are you sitting down? Did you have a good lunch? Is the answer yes to both questions? Good, then let's get on with our lesson. Now today, we're going to look at prepositions and directions. Now, we know lots of prepositions, don't we? That's right, of course we do. We know prepositions of time, at, on and in. We know some prepositions of place, don't we? We learned in, on, under and next to with Doreen and her pets, didn't we? Who can remember which prepositions we learned after Doreen's room? Correct. We looked at how we normally think of in as a three-dimensional idea. We say that we're standing in a room, or we're sitting in a car, for example. But we can also use it in another way as well. We can say that we're standing in the street, or that we're in Hungary. The next preposition we looked at was at. But this time, when we learned about at, we learned about it as a point in space, not a preposition of time. At the end of the street, or I'm working at my desk. We also looked at prepositions of place connected to a page, didn't we? Okay, now after that, as I'm certain you all know, we looked at some other prepositions of place, didn't we? We learned 7 new prepositions of place: between, beside, in front of, behind, opposite, above and below. Beside is a synonym for next to, and below is very similar to under. Then, in week 13, we learned some prepositions of movement: into, onto, out of and off. Now, in our last lesson, we also learned some new prepositions of place: up, down, over and under. So now we know lots of prepositions. Now, listen as I tell you where Eva and I ran last week. We started at the corner of Muzeumkörút and Rákóczi-út by Astoria. We ran towards Deák tér, but before we reached Deák tér, we turned right into Király utca. We ran down Király utca and turned left at the corner of Király utca and Káldi Gyula utca. We ran along Káldi Gyula utca and then we ran across Andrássy út and continued along Káldi Gyula utca. At the end of the road, we turned left into Révay utca. Then we turned right into Révay köz and ran to Bajcsy Zsilinszky út. We stopped at the zebra crossing and waited for the green man. When the lights changed and the green man appeared, we crossed Bajcsy and then turned right. We turned left into Szent István tér and ran past the basilica. At the end of the street, we turned right into Herceg Primás utca. We ran down Herceg Primás utca and turned left at the corner into Arany János utca. We ran down Arany János utca for a couple of blocks and then turned left onto Nádor utca. Then we ran to the bus stop and caught the number 15 bus. We went home on the bus. Now, were you able to follow where we went? Most of what I said wasn't new, but there were a few new words there, weren't there? Well, okay, let's think about those new words. The first one we heard was towards. Now, towards is very similar to, but there's a big difference. This is to, and this is towards. So, can you see the difference? That's right. When we use the preposition of movement to, it shows that we know where the destination is. We know where I or you or it is going. We know where the final destination is. So we often see to used with travel. This train goes to Székesfehérvár, for example. Before we catch a train to Miskolc, we can ask, does this train go to Miskolc? If I send a letter, I put the address on the front of the envelope. This is to help the postman. When he looks at the letter, he knows where it's going to. He knows the destination. Now, look again at the picture for towards. Can you see the difference? That's right. When we use towards, we know the general direction, but we don't know the destination. We can say that the train is moving towards. In the same way, when we watch where a plane is flying, we can say the plane is flying towards Paris. We don't know where the plane's destination is. We don't know if the plane is going to Paris. Maybe the plane is going to London and it's just flying in the direction of Paris. Okay, good. Now, what other new vocabulary did we hear? Well, we heard two other new words, along and across. Has anyone got any ideas about those two? No? Well, let me show you. This is along and this is across. Can you see the difference? Here they are together. So, when we use the preposition of movement along, we're talking about following the road or path or street. When we use the preposition of movement across, we're talking about not following the road, path or street. Now we're talking about crossing the road, path or street, moving from one side to the other side. If I say that I swam along the river, then we know that I was following the way that the river went. If I say that I swam across the river from Buda to Pest, then we know that I crossed the river, moving from one side to the other. Okay, great. Now, what else did we hear that was new? Well, there was a new word near the basilica. We ran past the basilica. Okay, so what does past mean? Well, have a look at this picture. This is past. So, that's past. I walked past the cinema, the hotel, and the factory. When Evie and I were running, we ran past the basilica. So, the preposition of movement past is very similar to another preposition we know, isn't it? That's right. Think about the preposition of place in front of. Well, the preposition of movement past is the same idea, but this time with movement, not position. Now, listen again as I tell you about where we normally go running. When we go running, first we leave the flat. We go out of the front door. Then we lock the door and walk down the stairs to the ground floor. We open the door of the house and go out of the house. We run to the end of the street. At the end of the street, we turn left. We run to the end of this street, past a nice building, and turn right. Then we run along the road to Szabadsághíd. The road goes past the Bálna. We run across Szabadsághíd and turn left at the end of Szabadsághíd. We run to Petőfihíd. When we get to Petőfihíd, we run under the bridge to the stairs. We run up the stairs and then we run over Petőfihíd. We cross the Danube again, this time from Buda to Pest. On the other side of the Danube, we run down the stairs and then we run past the Have station at Boráros to the Palace of the Arts. We run up the stairs, over the Have line and then down the stairs. Then we run back up the stairs, back over the Have line and back down the stairs again. Then we run back to Petőfi. We run under Petőfi, through Nehru Park and then back to our house. When we get back to our house, we walk up the stairs to the second floor and go into the flat. Then we sit down. Good, lots of prepositions. Now, did you notice that I used across with one bridge and over with another? Really, there's not a big difference between over and across, but I always think that if it's flat, across is better. If the bridge is arched, then I think over is better. There was a new preposition of movement in there as well, wasn't there? Did you spot it? That's right, through. Well, let's have a look at through. This is through. So, we say through with sentences like, a man walked through the room. A bird flew into the room through a window. Through means moving in one side and out the other. But we can also use through when a hole is made. The bullet from the gun went through his hat. Now, here's another example of through. Just as Mike and Rick and Neil are sitting at the table, getting ready to eat, Viv comes into the room, through the wall. So, did you notice how Vivian came into the room? That's right. In that scene, Vivian came through the wall. Oh, hang on. I think Enid's ready. I can see her waving at me. She's finished her makeup and she's ready to tell you some more examples of everyday English. Take it away, Enid. The stage is all yours. What? What's that, Enid? You're not coming on? Why not? Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. Would you like me to tell the audience for you? Okay, well, go home and try to get some rest and drink some hot lemon tea with honey. Yes, the honey will help your throat and the lemon is for vitamin C. Bye, Enid. Well, that was Enid. I thought she was waving to let me know she was ready, but she's not ready. She's got a very sore throat and she can't speak. So she won't be telling you some more examples of everyday English today, unfortunately. Oh well, let's hope that she feels better next lesson, and I'll ask her to do a double session to make up for today. And now we're out of time too. Well, thanks for watching me, Gav Duncan, on M5's English learning program, Let's Speak English. Don't forget, you can also catch up with the other English lessons at www.m5tv.hu. I had fun today. I hope you had fun too. I'm Gav Duncan. I'm not Chief Mangosuthu Buthelezi. I'm Gav Duncan, and I'll see you next lesson. See you later. Bye.